Okay, we're going to very, very quickly kind of review the rule of law. We're going to talk about King Hammurabi and kind of discuss how his code of law kind of has spread throughout the world and throughout time, where some of those principles exist in our rule of law today. Now, in ancient Middle East and in the cultures of the Middle East, basically there were no laws. If you were a peasant, if you were a slave, there was no certainty of what was going to happen in the next minute, the next day, the next year. There was no rhyme or reason for punishment. If the king were having a bad day, it was probably going to be a bad day for all the peasants. Okay, life again, without that certainty, was probably pretty tough. Now, in contrast today, we have codes, we have an organized set of laws. Everyone in society understands what's expected of them. The majority of those living in our society today understands the rules and understands there are punishment if you don't follow those rules. In our society, we also want to be fair, okay? We want things to be fair. There should be, again, a rhyme or a reason for things that happen. Now, the concept of the Code of Laws comes from the ancient Babylonian king Hammurabi. Hammurabi was trying to organize this region of Mesopotamia, taking all of the different city-states and having them controlled by himself. Now, in order to do that, he needed to come up with a distinct set of laws. So he came up with this Code of Laws, which was known as the Code of Hammurabi. Everybody knew and everybody understood that there were laws and there were going to be punishments if you broke the laws. Now, in the code, there were 282 laws that were carved into a pillar, a big pillar made of stone. And these laws were there to settle conflicts about family, about labor, about trade, about crime, all kinds of things. And they were written down, and everybody knew in the kingdom what the rules were. Now, the laws were also based on being fair, the idea of an eye for an eye. If you took someone's eye or killed someone, you would be killed. If you stole something from someone, your hand would be cut off. The punishments, it was believed, should fit the crime. And again, that concept I think we still believe in today. The punishment should fit the crime. Now, another thing that Hammurabi came up with was the punishment also had to deal with the social class. So basically, the higher you were socially in society on that ladder of success, the easier things would be for you. So the higher the class of the victim, okay, the harsher the punishment. So if you were a noble and you had a slave or a peasant commit a crime to you, the punishment on that slave would be very severe. On the other hand, if the noble created a crime on the slave, the punishment would not be severe. So those that had money, that had power, would be able to get away with a little bit more. So hopefully this makes a little bit of sense. And we, again, as we discussed in class, we talked about how culture has diffused throughout society, throughout time, and Hammurabi and his Code of Laws has been diffused through societies, through time. Okay, again, if you have questions, please feel free to let me know. We'll get things cleared up. Thanks.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.